He's saying my real rights no.
All right. Here we go, yeah.
What?
We live.
Yeah, real rights
I was gonna put her name on the thing because someone don't just say me. But she said y'all know who she is. The real rights know who she is.
That's what I said. Well, my real rights know who I am. I don't need my name on the screen. They know what it is. It's like 10:45 at night. Who else is in the back of your videos?
Oh shit. So y'all see the title, right? I want to talk about this real quick, right? So it's some things going on in these YouTube streets. I'm sure y'all aware. It's a certain individual caught up in a certain situation from back in the days. They got records a lot. I'm not here to talk about him as an individual and what he shouldn't and shouldn't have done. However, I was watching Zip shit earlier. Shout out to Zip with the drip. He's hilarious. Watching Zip earlier. Yeah. Y'all gotta see it. Y'all gotta see it. But he and I heard a dude say, I'm a civilian now. I can say what the fuck I want to say. And I disagree. So for those of y'all who know what I'm talking about, we got two types of dudes outside. You got street dudes and you got civilians. Now, a civilian is a person who lives a law-abiding lifestyle. He doesn't break no laws. He goes to work. He goes to school, whatever he got to do, pays his bills, pays his taxes. And therefore, a civilian cannot be considered a rat. A civilian is supposed to call the police when the police are needed. If a civilian sees something, he's supposed to say something.
Correct.
In my opinion, once you pass a certain point in the streets, you can no longer be a civilian.
Agreed.
You can choose to live a civilian lifestyle, as I'm doing right now. But you cannot hold yourself to the same rules as a civilian does, meaning you should not be calling the police on nobody. Now, again, I'm not speaking on that man.
No, they're not. They're not interchangeable.
No.
If you've been a civilian, you've been a civilian your whole life. Now, that doesn't mean that you never wrote no graffiti on the train. You never shoplifted, like childhood things.
There are civilians that hang out with street dudes.
Yes.
We from the same blocks. We from the same neighborhoods. It happens. Like I'm rewatching Money and Violence now. If y'all watch that, the boy Joe, he's a civilian. He go to work, he go to school. He ain't with none of the shits. But he messes with Shane and Kane on him. He's from their block. He's a civilian. But you cannot then say, all right, I did a bid and I came home and I ain't in the streets no more. I'm a civilian now. So
no,
I'm calling the police when I see
you forfeited that title already when you were doing the things that led you to go to jail. So you, like you said, you could live on a civilian lifestyle, and you can no longer partake in street things, and you could never do those things again. You could never get a speeding ticket, another ticket, but that you still, and for most people, probably lived the majority of your life ascribing to a certain set of rules, standards, whatever you want to call them, and you can't just switch that up, in my opinion, not for these types of situations that you're talking about.
No.
You can, like you said, you can go to your job, you can work your 9 to 5, you can do all of those things. You can utilize all of the systems that civilians utilize, but when it comes to certain matters, you're not a civilian, and you have to contest with that because that's the decision you made. Now, if you are a civilian, that would, like I said, maybe you did things in your youth. Maybe I would say, boys being boys or youthful things or whatever, and you grew out of that before you even turned 21 years old.
And you did before you went to jail. You didn't go to
never
prison.
went to jail. Yeah, maybe you went to.
It's crazy to me, but that's kind of like
maybe
the crossover.
You might have even been a youthful offender. You might have went to the bookings. You might have been in a.
If you was a kid and you was in the streets and you decided at some point, this ain't for me, and you never did a bid, and you decide this ain't for me, I don't want to do this no more. You can transition into a civilian. There is a transitional period though. You can't be in the streets today or Monday. I don't know. We gotta give it a time frame. Because you can't be in the streets on Monday and some shit happened Monday night and on Tuesday and scare you out of it. And on Tuesday morning, you call the police. So I'm a civilian now. Nah, you gotta transition.
There's levels to this.
Yes, levels. So, but you can't. But once you do a bid and all that, you can't be a civilian. I don't understand, and I don't understand why dudes even want to claim that. That's what you want to be. No, you a civilian.
But why do they claim that? Do they claim that to then give themselves an out for when they do? Oh God, what's a nice word to say? When they do things they shouldn't be
When
doing.
they do civilian shit.
Yes, like that to give themselves a PS, like, oh, well, that's not me no more. I don't do that.
That's what the man
So
said. The
that I'll
man
be
said, I'm a civilian now. I can say what the fuck I want to say. And I was like,
I mean, no, the man can do that. The man can do that. The man can have decided for himself that that's what he wants to do, but the man can't be mad if that brings flack from other people, or people have something to say about it, or people don't understand that as a choice. It doesn't make sense to me. It just, but maybe that's based on who I'm around and who you are and who, like in my understanding of that. And I'm a whole civilian.
born and raised.
Yeah. Yes. It's in my genes, in my bloodline. Yes. So yes, I have not partaken in anything that would classify me as not a civilian.
I don't know. What y'all think?
And I still don't.
Again, I know a lot of dudes that, was in the streets, did biz, home now, working, own businesses, doing their things. But
when it comes to certain situations,
I don't think they consider themselves civilians. Yeah, they're not going to make civilian choices in certain situations.
They're going to hope for this. They're going to hope that all of the things that they do now since coming home or whatever, don't put them in a position to ever have to make those choices. They don't necessarily consider themselves a civilian, but I know I could say this for you. Like, you make sure that you live your life in a way that you never have to make those choices. But if choices need to be made, your go-to, is not going to be like a civilian mindset or whatever. That's just my opinion. But I don't know. Did the civilian take the lady to the Cheesecake Factory?
Oh, yeah.
They want to get out the car. That's what I want to talk about. You keep asking me to come on live to talk about this stuff that don't be on these YouTube streets. I don't be in the streets.
The YouTube streets.
I don't be in the proverbial streets or the real streets. I want to talk about the lady who didn't get out the car because the man took her to the Cheesecake Factory. Did you see that?
I saw that. So let's talk about that.
Yes. First of all, she's a dummy. And she's rude. And there's difference between having standards or whatever people want to say that they have for themselves, or their worth, that they know their value, their high value, low value. I don't know what any of that crap means. But what she did was rude. She should have gotten out the car. And she could have even went inside the Cheesecake Factory and discussed with him the fact that she doesn't like
change. You got to tell the people. Everybody ain't see it. Everybody
they got to see the whole video.
Yeah, you got to tell them what happens. For the people that didn't see the video.
The whole video is better than the clip that's running around. Because if you watch the whole
So what's in the clip first? What does the clip show?
The clip shows that she arrives with her date in a parking lot. And she appears to go live while he gets out of the car to open the door for him. And she starts complaining about, like, we're not at the Cheesecake Factory. Like, yeah, he's trying to take me to the Cheesecake Factory. So he taps on a glass, like, for her to get out the door. He was like, did you want me to open the door for you? Are you coming? He was like, wait, are you live? And she's like, yes. He was like, you don't take someone as beautiful as me to a chain restaurant. And he looks a little confused by her statement, but he realizes that she's on her phone. So he says, do you want me to get back inside and we could talk about it? I don't mind talking about it in front of them. So they proceed to talk about it. And she shares basically that she feels she was too beautiful for him to be taken to her chain restaurant on a first date. That's mostly what's going around on people's timelines. But I Googled, woman thinks she's too beautiful to go to Cheesecake Factory, and the whole video comes up. And it's her video of herself. And she gets on live, and I feel like she's trying to embarrass him. She's trying to make him feel small for taking her to the Cheesecake Factory. And he lets her air her opinion out. He lets her say all her stuff. Oh, when you court a woman, you got to do ooh, ooh, ah, ah, or whatever she's saying. And he listens to her. And then he waits patiently, quietly. He never disrespects her. He never raises her voice. He never calls her a name. He never goes back and forth with her. He says, but I told you to be ready at 4:00. You took an hour to come downstairs. I had prepared a reservation, but we couldn't make the reservation because you came downstairs late. Then he proceeds to say that I too have standards and expectations for a woman for our first date, that they be respectful, cooperative, etc. Okay. And so he says, and since you're none of those things, I'm going to take you back home. And that, for me, folks, was the highlight. He pulled that nice car around and drove her away. As he's driving to take her back home, she's like, oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. You're right. Like she's in shock because her intention was to embarrass him, to belittle him, to force his hand to take her somewhere better. And he stood his ground. And that's okay. And I respect him for that. He should have took her ass. First, he shouldn't have took her back nowhere. He should have told her to get out the car, wait in the parking lot, and went inside to eat the Cheesecake Factory. She could have made it home however she wanted to. This is why I keep telling our two women do not want me on no podcast show talking about nothing because y'all are ridiculous. That's ridiculous what she did. And the beautiful part was that was very
What is too beautiful? All right.
Because I'm dope.
How are you too
beautiful? And I definitely want to go to the Cheesecake.
You don't like who don't like something like the Cheesecake Factory?
They got at least 50 bazillion things in the menu, okay? Everybody likes something.
It wasn't. She's just a chain restaurant. So is that a problem? Why is it a problem to go to a chain restaurant?
But she wasn't good. No, the problem.
He didn't take her to Domino's.
But he wasn't gonna take her to the chain restaurant. The lesson here was that she caused herself to be at the chain restaurant. He told her to be ready at 4 o'clock. She said, "Fuck you. I'll be ready when I'm ready." That's what it means to show up to have him sitting downstairs late for an hour means fuck you. I'll do it as I please. So she saunters downstairs an hour late. Okay. And then he couldn't keep the reservation that he made at a restaurant. And he showed her proof that he had made a reservation at a better place, but she was late. Then she made excuses for that. Well, work happens with this. But you could have communicated that. Hey, I know you said to be ready at 4, but work ran late and I'm going to be running late. Is that a problem? And he maybe he would have said, oh, I had a reservation for this time, but let me see if I could push it back. But she probably just didn't care. She was nonchalant, probably upstairs, getting dressed, doing whatever she wants to. It's disrespectful. So how can a person who starts off from a place of disrespect then expect to be courted and treated like that? So no matter what you give a man, he's just supposed to come back and court you. Are you retarded?
That is the sentiment. Yes.
These women, and she was a big grown. I would say that she was 40 plus years old and too old to be listening to these people on podcasts and online telling you how women are supposed to move. You know better. That's just plain old rule. You don't have any courtesy. And he didn't owe you that conversation. He didn't owe you that explanation, but he did. And I feel like like people always talk about fumble this and fumble the good woman. She fumbled the good dude, and maybe not to be her man, but she could have done a lot of things. She could have got out the car because he picked her up because he took her somewhere. Even though she was an hour late, he was still willing to go on with the date. And they could have went inside. She could have even said over the meal the things that she doesn't like. Like, hey, we're eating at the Cheesecake Factory, but I'm not a fan of chain restaurants. Maybe if we have the opportunity to go out again, we can go somewhere else. It would have had a conversation. Or maybe he would have agreed and they could have talked about it and went on a subsequent date. Or maybe he would have been like, oh, if she don't like Cheesecake Factory, I'm not fucking with her because I love this shit. Whatever, but you didn't have to do that. Then her intent. If she was too old to be going live on a date, like who the fuck at your big grown age, 40-something years old, is going live with who? Who want to see?
You're assuming that lady might be 25. You watching voice.
No, she wasn't. And he came. He wasn't inappropriately dressed. He had on a shirt. He had looked nice. He was presentable looking. Like I said, it was a lot of pluses she could have got out of the situation. He let her air out her concerns. She voiced her opinion. He didn't interrupt. It was a lot of things right with the situation. The wrong was her. She was wrong from the beginning. She was wrong all the way to the end. And I commend him for dropping her black ass back home hungry. Well, beautiful.
It sounds like she talked herself out of something that could have been good. And I personally believe this comes from social media, and they see these, and I'm too good for it, and they get these ideas. And but
let's not confuse this with what I said last time. Did you ask me something about light bills last time, and I was pissed about that?
That was your man said that.
Okay, but I don't want anybody to confuse my opinions. I still with that light bill bullshit. That still is what it is. But this is something different because then people try to say that I said no. Don't clip it up. This utility bills conversation was what I said about that. This is what I'm saying about that.
Is there something wrong? What's wrong with a chain restaurant? We was talking about this earlier.
No, don't do that either.
I want to know what's wrong with a chain restaurant.
Don't do that.
What?
Because then somebody be like, I took her to Arby's or McDonald's.
That's what I'm saying. It's levels to chain. Like I said, he didn't take her to Domino's. He took her to the Cheesecake Factory.
He took her to the Cheesecake Factory
because let's say he had his original plan with him and say he liked the Cheesecake Factory.
Right.
He got his addition to the Cheesecake Factory. I said shit.
I feel like
That's like, what's it called? What's the joint in the mall in Jersey? Houston. Is that considered a chain?
Yeah.
He liked the spinach dip. We going to Houston. I like the spinach dip. Spinach dip, cook crack. I'm going to get that. You want to come to Houston with me? Nah, I'm too beautiful to go to a chain restaurant.
Well, she was really taking me clean the fuck out with the too beautiful part. But that's maybe I should do that. You know?
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Right.
We're not gonna do that to you, Ma. You good. You too beautiful. I don't know. You're not too beautiful. You beautiful, but I don't know what's too beautiful.
I don't know what is, but see that you too beautiful, but your whole actions and everything you did was ugly.
See, the problem is it's a bigger problem.
And that's a problem. So you're basing your worth on your aesthetics. And so this is where there's always a disconnect. So you're saying because you look like this and or like that you should get this. So what if you didn't look like that? What should you have gotten? I don't understand.
I think the idea of worth is being misconstrued. So when you say your worth, in my mind, your worth does not equal $1.
Right.
And that's what was being translated to. Because I'm this, I'm worth more money than that. Worth is about how a person treats you. Like you said, the man came dressed nice, he picked her up, whatever. That is worth. He showed her that she was beautiful and that she was worth being treated like she was beautiful.
He already established that he thought you was worth it when he sat outside in his fucking car.
And he sat in the car waiting for an hour. Yeah. A whole hour. He
already let you know that he felt you were of some value when he saw you and he asked you to take you to dinner. I don't know the context in which they meet, but sitting outside waiting for you an hour to him said, damn, she's worth the wait. So he already established that the too beautiful that you feel about yourself, he also felt that way because he was willing to sit outside and wait for you an hour. She does say some slick shit about it would be embarrassing for her to go in the Cheesecake Factory with him. To me, the whole situation made it seem like she had been chit-chatting with her girlfriends and she was gonna get him to take her XYZ and do all this so she could have something to talk about in her group chat, but not a real vested interest in getting to know him. Because who would you be? Who based on what you I don't want to do that. But I'm just saying, based on how you presented yourself, ma'am, I don't know who would be embarrassed for you. Because they was reading her for filth in the comment sections. They was like, so she had on a rainbow dress and beauty supply sunglasses, and she felt she should be embarrassed to go inside of the Cheesecake Factory. People was like, why don't you just
she went live?
But she went live herself. But now she not only went live, but she made herself viral. So now I don't know what you're gonna get now in this dating pool that everybody's always saying is pissy because you thought she thought it was a flex to do that.
Yeah, she was trying to embarrass him.
Okay, and now you're on people's timeline. Now it's people having blind reaction videos to you. That's who you are. The lady who was too beautiful to go into the Cheesecake Factory. The man who did a blind reaction said, women shouldn't really throw that beautiful word around so much. That took me out. I didn't even watch nothing else. He said you shouldn't even throw around the beautiful word. It's crazy. But I don't know. That's just like, it's just weird. Like these people are weird. Like the way that they want to be treated in relationships or as far as like getting to know each other with dating. I mean, I clearly am no dating expert. But
why are you no dating expert?
because we met in 1997 and we still here. Right. But I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't pretend to know what it's like to be in that situation. But I just know that some things are just common sense and some things are just rude. And that was just rude and disrespectful. And women are saying that they would like to be courted. Everything about his behavior said he wanted to court her. He set a time. He made a previous reservation for them. He came on time. He waited for her. He got out of the car to open the door for her. He allowed her to air her grievances.
All this was showing her worth. This is about worth.
Yes,
worth is not about $1.
Yes, if you think you're a high value woman, he was reiterating that for you. Yes. He was saying, yes, you are. But what he learned in your conversation was that you didn't view him as a high value man. And so that you didn't think it was important to be respectful or cooperative on the date. And he made a decision. And you could see like when it clicked for him, like, oh, but I have rules too, but I have standards too. And you're not meeting those standards either. And so I'm going to take you and your high worth ass back to your home. Then she was very sorry.
I'm going to start some bullshit. This is what I think Tyler Perry was trying to say. When he said,
all right, Atu.
when he said
all right,
the
Atu.
utility bill thing, he was trying to say that if the man don't make enough money to do X, Y, Z now, if he's treating you as a high value, if he's doing the thing to show that he values you, that you have a high value, but he doesn't have the physical, the financial. That's what he was trying to say. He used the wrong word.
What was my problem with him? What was my real, like, not about just the utility? What was my actual problem with him? My problem was that I asked men to stop talking to us. That's what I asked. Okay, so you could try to parlay this into something else.
No, I'm just saying. I think that's what he meant. He didn't convey that.
Just like I don't want no men to talk to her. That man spoke volumes on that video. I am a woman talking to her about women shit. If I knew her, if I was in her group chat, I would tell her about herself. Because sometimes women should check other women rather. What I said about Tyler Perry, Atu, was that I asked him not to talk to us. That's what I said. That's what I said. Because clearly we talk enough. He was already on a group chat about the dude before he even got out the car. So we talked to each other. What I said was, talk to your men. That's what I said. So don't try to, say, oh, that he, see, again.
Well, he was telling the men too, you good enough. Even though you only put the light bill, if you show her value in other ways.
Then have that conversation with you.
He's not gonna say he worded it. He worded it incorrect.
In his group chat, he should talk about it. In mine, let me talk to women. So no, we're not gonna try to merge these two topics together.
I was just saying.
I don't think so.
I'm just saying that's how it felt.
Because I don't disagree that man and that in that situation he had value. Well, first of all, that's just crazy to say, but I believe all these people have value. But I believe that he clearly views himself as a high value individual. And not only that, he has values, he has morals, he has standards, and he's allowed to exercise those things too. And if you don't like the way he exercises them, you're free to not deal with him. That's cool, just like he's free to not deal with her. But I don't feel, and I don't know him from anywhere, but I'm just saying, like, in that situation, I don't think the same is like he wasn't just offering bare minimum to her and then expecting her to be okay with that. He's saying to you, I'm not gonna give you bare minimum. I'm willing to give you the things that I think a woman of your worth deserves or whatever. But you was I saying, like your grandmother say, like, cut off your nose to spite your face? Like, that's what you're moving with. So that was my issue with her. But see, I'm talking to her. I don't need Tyler Perry to talk to her or you to talk to her. I'm gonna talk to her. I need you to talk to Tyler Perry and talk to the other bros. Don't talk to us, please. Don't.
Well, I'm talking to the bros. The bro did the right thing. He took her home. Know your worth, bro. You got worth too. And you don't have to be subjected to these tomfoolery.
And take these bras right the fuck back home.
Take them on back home. It's okay for you to have standards. It's okay for you to have rules and quality that expectations. It's all right. You don't have to meet all her expectations and she meet none of yours. You're just supposed to be like, all right, everything is fine.
Just because she's
just because she's beautiful. No, she's beautiful. She's too beautiful for the cheesecake.
I asked you not to use that word about that lady.
I don't even remember what the lady looked like. I did see the video.
You was all right. It wasn't the problem. Was her aesthetics.
It was her attitude.
It was her attitude.
The attitude sucks.
It did.
But this attitude is being promoted.
And she realized it too, but it was
the correct attitude.
And maybe that's really like that video, even though it's not very long, but that video is really like, you could really dissect that video a lot, because after he says about his worth, she starts to humble herself and she says, like, I'm very sorry, you're right, I could have been on time or whatever, but he should have never had to go through all that with you.
It's too late since we're on the way home already.
Yeah. On this first day, like, that's something that you go through.
I don't even know you put me through all this. You just put me on live and all that.
On the first day.
Yeah, it's too late. If this is how we starting off, this ain't gonna work out well. You know, you going live every time we get a disagreement, you gonna go live.
Yeah, and he mentioned many things. Like, I think he said he came to pick her up, and I guess he knocked on the door, whatever, to say, like, you know, he was there. She didn't invite him in, and he said, I understand that because we're just getting to know each other, whatever the case may be. You didn't feel comfortable with that. I guess on the walk from her apartment, wherever she lived, they don't show that, like, wherever to the car, I guess he had offered his hand or whatever. She didn't want to do that. That was fine. It's like he was understanding all of her rules, all of her limits, and showing her, again, this high, I hate that term, we got to do something with that, but all of these things that she, you know, feels about herself, he was what's the word? Like he was like co-signing that. Like, yes, you are. Yes, you don't have to let me in. Yes, you don't, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. We're getting on each other or whatever. So from the get-go, he was showing the respect that you claim that you want. But then all of that was irrelevant because he didn't buy you a particular kind of meal. That shit crazy.
Oh, there you have it, folks. Are you too beautiful for the Cheesecake Factory?
But you're too beautiful for somebody just paid a light bill.
You might be too beautiful for somebody just paid.
You better go ahead and end your live, Otto.
We're gonna get back to the light bill at a later date.
We not.
I'm not going there tonight.
We aren't.
Put it in the comments what you think. We want to hear from y'all.
Well, that you pay more than a light bill.
I didn't say I do pay more than a light bill, but if I was in a situation where
I too go ahead and end your live.
Pay more than a light bill, you wouldn't.
Is we already in too deep to ask me silly ass questions? Go ahead and end your
When we met in 1997.
I too go ahead and end your live. I have to wash clothes.
I'm out at your face.